Hello, guys. Welcome, everybody, to Purple A's podcast. I am your host who bleeds purple and gold, Isaac here. So, the Vikings will be taking on the San Francisco 49ers week 2 in their home opener against the Niners. So, I would say, in my opinion, the 49ers, last time, not only NFC champions, which is part of it, but, the 49ers are one of the best teams and one of the most, I would say, out of the entire schedule, the Vikings have the most physical team on the schedule for the Vikings. So basically, it's going to be a very tall task, for the Vikings, to come out with the win. But if they do want to pull off the win, here's kind of some players, to watch and some keys, in my opinion. Starting off with the 49ers defense, obviously they're still elite. You got, of course, Nick Bosa. They added Leonard Floyd, Javon Hargraves, Fred Warner. I believe they got Devondre Campbell. Their 7 front is probably their strong suit. The 49ers strong suit is the 7 front. That's most likely. They have some good, safeties or they have some good secondary players. Charvarius Ward. I mean, it's no doubt, basically, for the offense of the Vikings, it's going to be not easy. But, yeah, those are kind of some weapons, for the 49ers defense. I mean, they're obviously a good powerhouse type of defense, they're a very good defense. So I got, it's basically the question, that we've all wanted to, of Sam Darnold, since he had a miraculous game against the New York Giants. Just have to clean up that delay of game clock. So it's as if, how can Sam Darnold, rebound when the 49ers are bringing pressure, How are you going to throw the ball really well? Because here's the thing. When you throw it deep against the 49ers, I feel like besides Charvarius Ward, I mean, the 49ers secondary, I mean, you should be able to throw it deep, in their red zone, and then I think you might get something going there. Make a big play. But I also expect the 49ers, I also expect the 49ers to bring pressure, I expect them to do that. Because, I mean, even if they're not going to get home with, the front four, they're going to blitz, a cornerback. They're going to blitz Fred Warner or Devondre Campbell. So I expect heat from Sam Darnold, I expect it. Because, I mean, that's what the 49ers will do. It's how Sam Darnold, how he is in the pocket, how does he respond to that? Does he see ghosts, or does he stand tall, and just throw the ball, with confidence out there and still play big? Because Sam Darnold, this is going to be a big game, but not only for just Sam Darnold, but also for Aaron Jones. It's going to be a big game because Aaron Jones against the 7th front of the 49ers is going to be a tough one, for Aaron Jones. But here's the thing, though. The offensive line is going to need to do their job, no doubt. But for Aaron Jones, I mean, it may have, if Sam Darnold is just seeing ghosts, and not confident, you might have to run it more than you pass it, honestly. It may have to come to that point. And I want to see at least 4 yards a carry. There's no reason why they shouldn't. They should. But for Aaron Jones, I mean, if it may come down to that, which I wouldn't mind that at all. So, I mean, it's going to have to be a big game for Aaron Jones. And the offensive line, too, as well as the offensive line. In complete fairness, though, I mean, I have no doubt Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill, they are going to shut down Leonard Floyd and Nick Bosa, because Nick Bosa last year against the Vikings, Nick Bosa didn't do anything. He didn't do jack against Brian O'Neill, who was no better, where he did no better. But I mean, against Christian Darrisaw and against Brian O'Neill, I mean, I don't have any worries. It's just the interior offensive line, with Ed Ingram, Garrett Bradbury, and Blake Brandel going up against Javon Hargraves, who is one of the best defensive tackles. I think he's going to be disruptive, because if Dexter Lawrence was, then I have no doubt then that the 49ers are going to... I have no idea Hargraves is going to do that. So, I mean, but the offensive line needs to do the thing, try to protect Sam Darnold, open up holes for Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler, so they can jam it down the 49ers' throats and do something like that. And also for Jalen Naylor, also, it's unknown, that Jordan Addison is going to be in for week 2 against the Niners, which sucks, but I'm not overall worried about the wide receiver room, but for Jalen Naylor, this is a big game for him. Jalen Naylor is going to be the wide receiver 2 for the Vikings, alongside with Brandon Powell, Tristan Jackson, and Trent Sherfield. But for Jalen Naylor, he's going to need to fill in that hole for Jordan Addison, and fill in really well. I mean, he only had 1 catch, against the Giants. But we'll see how he does, with more targets and more passes. So Jalen Naylor, I expect him to do it. And not only just the 49ers defense is good, but their offense is also pretty good too as well. They're also physical as well. Brock Purdy, he's okay. I'm not saying he's like an elite quarterback, which is too much, to say, which is a pretty hot take, or massively, or not even, or that term doesn't define Brock Purdy. But also, I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey's not there, but still, Jordan Mason. I mean, this dude's a physical running back, bro. What we saw against the Jets, I mean, the Vikings are going to have their work cut out. The 49ers offensive line, Trent Williams, their only weak spot is really the center, but other than that, the 49ers offensive line is decent. Deebo Samuel, I mean, he's a really, really good wide receiver and also a good running back too as well, where they'll want to use him as a gadget player. And also passing wise, I mean, Brandon Ayuk, he's still a deep threat. Jawan Jennings, George Kittle, who is not only a good tight end, but also a good run blocker too as well. So I expect that from him. And the defense, I mean, Brian Flores is going to have his work cut out, against this 49ers offense. And and basically the main thing for me on defense for the Vikings to get after is stop the run. You got to do your best to contain Jordan Mason as much as you can, because you can't just take him lightly, because he's going to get a lot of yards on the Vikings. So the 7 front of the Vikings is almost as good as the 49ers 7 front, if not maybe equal or maybe better. But you got to stop the run as best as you can, because the 49ers, they're a run team. They are a run team. They love running the ball with Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason. And also, they also love using Deebo Samuel as a gadget player to do sweeps, to do pitches, and to have him run on the outside. I mean, he's really good at doing that. So, I mean, Deebo Samuel's going to do that. You're going to see plenty of that, too, as well. I mean, and they also passed, and against the Jets, they ran it more than they passed it. So, expect the run from the 49ers. And if you stop their run, I feel like that gives you the best chance on defense then. Basically, where you have to force Brock Purdy to throw with his arm, where you have to get after him too as well, which is another one of my keys, by the way. But you have to get after him too as well. Obviously, the forefront, but I feel like the edge rushers might do their thing. I mean, they do have some strong edge containers for the 49ers, but I feel like they're weak. But I said the only weak spot of the 49ers offensive line is their center. I don't remember his name or anything, but that is the weak spot of the 49ers, where Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Bullard, Jerry Tillery can jam it up the middle, get after Brock Purdy right there. If not from anywhere else, the center should be... I don't even know how this is possible, but I feel like the center is 49ers center is worse than Garrett Bradbury. I don't even know how that's possible, but it is. It is what it is. So, I mean, all you have to do is just get after Purdy and make him uncomfortable. That's basically the goal for everything. So, I mean, but that's not the main thing. My main thing is to stop the run and expect that. And from the cleanup crew, the linebackers, Ivan Pace Jr., Blake Cashman, Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, they need to do their work, to do their best to lessen the damage to as well by the 49ers run game. So here's my final score prediction. I feel like this is going to be another one of those like old school type of, jam it down your throats, run, hard-hitting type of game with the 49ers. I feel like it's going to be one of those games too as well, but I will say this though, but I'm going to predict, the Vikings fall short of the 49ers. I'm going to say 25, they lose 25-22 in my opinion, but if they lose this game, it's really not the end of the world. It really isn't, because I will say this, next week after the 49ers, I mean, I feel like the Vikings have a better chance of winning against the Texans than they do the 49ers. But I also would love to see a competitive game. I would love to see a competitive game. Not just the Vikings getting smacked in the face and not showing up at all. I mean, a blowout for the Vikings would be great, but, I mean, if you win this game, it's a bonus. I mean, you are in a good position if you go 2-0 here, but I think the Vikings do fall short, I think they do and go 1-1 on the season. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Skol Vikings.